That's utterly disgusting. So, here's a VOD of 120 versus 14 Sui. And it exhibits the style, Der Kaiser, that you said you have issues with. Thank you for the sub, Jay Karen, Jota, Evil, and Nyler. So as you can see, the keeper is going to do 3 creeping. Eero in the red is 120, and this is 14 Sui. Not reading sub messages, mad. Hello, Grubstuffer. Should I quit my job and become a full-time dog walker? See, I thought that was a hypothetical question, Jay Karen. Because I don't know what your job is, so I cannot give you realistic advice. Alright, so what you can see is that the DK comes here right away to try and creep steal and harass. And he's not donating skeletons because he doesn't want Keeper to be level 2. I ask you, Der Kaiser and other fellow undead Padawans, to not only look at what you see, but to also see what you're looking at. So don't just look for entertainment and be like, wow, that guy's really good. You have to question everything when you're seeing it, and you need to make predictions if you want to learn from VODs. So him not sending skeletons into the base and harassing wisps is something that you should be aware of. Because go watch one of your own replays and see what you do with your own skeletons. I'm not saying everything 120 is doing is better, but most likely it's better than what you are doing. So if you compare it and you see that it's different, try to answer why that is the case. And you see the keeper's experience. So the conclusion, the only logical conclusion, is that he's trying to avoid Keeper 2 for as long as possible. 1. Straight harass. 2. Creep steal. 3. Not random skeleton attacks. How many times have you beaten Todd since the bounty was placed? Once. So he uses skeleton on Wisp when the Night Elf is distracted. He does not coil the level 1 wizard. He wanted to auto attack it. So that's another clue that we get from this VOD, where he doesn't coil level 1 creeps, but Happy does. So you need to decide whose style you think is better. These are the 2 best undeads in the world, 120 and Happy. The Happy does coil level 1 creeps, and 120 did not. He tried to auto attack it. Note that his mana is not full, so it's not like he will easily regenerate whatever mana he loses. He will make sure to stay under max mana, so he can make use of mana regen. Once, little dragon. This one I don't get. This just completely blows my mind. He was able to get the wizard to proc lightning shield on his ghoul in the absence of any ranged units or spellcasters. And he's solo creeping the 353 without his DK with maybe 5-6 ghouls, losing none and getting the whole creep without self-denying. Well, that's not true. He self-denies 1 point of experience. He should be 1.9 from this, and he stole one of the level 3s. So he actually ends up denying one of the creeps. It must be. No. He got level 2. I remember now. I remember. He crept the whole thing. Look, he's gonna get level 2 effort, like from the final creep. Wait. Oh, no. Yeah, I think he did deny one. Okay, this is a bad surround by Night Elf. Is that a YouTube video where you can click on whatever you want? No. This observer from Warcraft 3 Arts YouTube channel, which is spelled like so. He's a very experienced YouTube viewer. He has watched... Oh, sorry. He has watched 3.8 thousand replays for your viewing pleasure. So it's a great way to watch otherwise difficult to access Asian replays which have a different client. So note that the DK is creeping, even though he could be harassing, because he's probably afraid of getting entangled surrounded. You can't keep harassing forever. Eventually you'll overstep and it gets too predictable. So he's decided to creep. So he actually gets 2 creep camps while Keeper is hunting for him, which means they are even on experience, which is really well done by 120. I'm fast forwarding a little bit. He's gonna go for some wisps. Actually, I find this a very low value technique because Night Elf is not lumber expensive when going for air. So I really wonder what's the point here. I don't get it. He will get some experience from wisps maybe, but it's so late that I don't really get it. So one of the things that is very important when you go for VOD analysis or replay analysis is to make predictions and judgments on what you see with an open mind. So you tell yourself, I think this is not good. What could it achieve? What could it hurt? So, very good point by Mr. Explorer. He says, maybe he wants to pull the Night Elf to come home. That's a really good point, because if he doesn't do it, Elf will creep to level 3 and go for his base and do like a level 2 entangle push. However, Elf could still do that despite the DK being here. But because DK has 260 mana, maybe that's just a little bit too much losses. So he harasses to not get harassed, maybe. Quite smart. And maybe pick up a bit of experience. There we go. That's normally 25 experience. I don't know if he's training Lich yet. If he's not, he gets the 0.15% bonus experience. So another 3 to 4. 29, 28 experience per wisp. He got 1 so far. So he made the Keeper come home. Alchemist comes out. Yes, this is 120 from China. That's correct. He's gonna fake coil. Fake coil twice. 3 times. And 4th time. And still detonate into it. Well done. Creeping again with the ghouls. Gives him level 3 DK. Lich was in training. So he has gone for tier 3. Lich and Slaughterhouse. I believe in that order. DK is 3, so he has real coil threat now. But his coil didn't kill an archer, and he made a mistake here to... well, to be on the map when Night Elf is. So he's actually gonna get triple entangled and killed. So he has to TP. He got lucky though, but also it was smart for him to go around the corner. Night Elf loses vision, and so it disjointed the normally undisjointable entangle. Coil Nova, pretty threatening at this point. Hiding his archers, smart. Not giving easy detonate to the skeletons. 120 is actually 4 food ahead right now. He hasn't really killed much, but he's been creeping really well and efficiently. Uses both Coil Nova on the wizard. Gets the gauntlet and leaves. You would think that it's easy to finish the camp with skellies and stuff, but if you stay in one place for too long, the chance of getting creep checked is higher. This is another really interesting point. He solo crept this with ghouls to level up his DK. He never goes back for these items. Never. And you would think, if you go back for it, it's nice. You get a Slippers of Agility, a Ring of Protection, and Mantle of Intelligence. Lots of survivability. It's pretty normal, pepperoni pizza. He knows they're there, still he doesn't go back. So from that, you already get a sense that he's being incredibly efficient with his time. After all, if he wasn't, if he's wasting time, he could have made time to go there and pick it up. And let's see why. Night Elf is finishing the Merc camp. Note that 120 is not using skeletons to scout his flank, so he could get creep checked here. During this time, DK goes back, not for Orb, because he has Orb and Rod already. He could have made Skelly scout his flank for creep check. If he gets creep checked here, I think it's pretty bad. He gets a mana potion, and no third hero, so he chooses Mana Potion to keep his Crypt Fiends alive against air spam. Web is half of the way done. Note that you get Web right before you attack. You don't go Web and then Fiend, because then your Fiend will be in your base. If you go Fiend, Web actually teleports across the map to your Fiends to give him Web. 120 said in interviews he intentionally donates or leaves items on ladder to make it harder for himself. Really? So this might be a ladder game. Actually, this YouTube channel never says what they are from. So this might be a ladder game. Nice handicap training. What a psychopath. You're a raving psychopath. Never change.
Your building is complete.
This one is interesting.
Greetings, friend.
Now that I know he leaves items intentionally sometimes, I will no longer look at that analytically about efficiency, because he's standing still here doing nothing for a while. He killed the rabbit, and he's gonna summon skeletons from it, I suppose. But he has been kind of darting back and forth here. And while it seems he's not achieving anything, at the very least Night Elf isn't creeping either. Had 120... Actually, there isn't much to do. If you look at the map, there's a few creeps left. There is this one, the 313. Not really worth it to creep. At this stage of the game, everyone has tier 3 or tier 2 army already. The natural is too difficult and predictable for Undead to creep now, because Elf will creep jack. Same thing about bottom right. The Granite Golem here is right out. This one right out as well. So everything mid has been crept. There really isn't much to do. But he still wants to make sure that Night Elf doesn't creep the Goblin Shop. And if he's not here, then Night Elf will. But if he attacks before he's ready, it could still be bad. So I guess he's waiting for web and positioning. But this part really freaked me out about, 120. Like, how is he going to approach this? No, it's to increase the quality of your practice, HaskQT, and to come back from behind. I get handicap training. He has Destroyer upgrade. I suppose he was waiting for that. He actually morphs the Destroyer before the first spell, so he doesn't want to do that reactive thing. This part is really, really interesting. As we unpause, Night Elf immediately goes for a ghoul, right? What does 120 do? He can coil it. He can focus fire this webbed Hippo Rider. There's all kinds of things he can do, but he is fighting this Ancient of War as well, and he's already started to have Night Elf commit to him. First ghoul doesn't even try to coil. Gets a second web. Acid Bomb goes down on 2 ghouls. He's focusing Alchemist. Ghouls all the way back because they are the most easily killed and they are the least worth to coil. He saves coil for a Fiend or a Lich. Focus fires the Alchemist. Invul Potion. That's a win. But in the meantime, he has lost 2 ghouls already. Obviously, he prioritizes the Destroyer over the Ghoul, tried to self-kill it, but loses another. So in this engagement, basically, he lost 3 Ghouls. Yes, he has Ghoul Frenzy. Does he? Wait, let me check. No, he has no Ghoul Frenzy, which also means he's never going to get it. Okay, I didn't realize that. Thanks for the question, Jerusalem. So he has no Ghoul Frenzy, decides it's not worth it, costs too much lumber. He needs Crypt Fiend production and web, and Frenzy hogs up the Crypt production too much. So he lost 3 ghouls for a Potion of Invulnerability. I think he had 5 ghouls with him. Goes for the early Devour on Treants. There's clarity on the Keeper. He does not cancel it. He's going to coil and devour the Crypt Fiend. Saves it. Focuses the Fairy Dragon. Finally kills it. Okay. He now has killed 1 Fairy Dragon so far this game. And has lost the Crypt Fiend. Loses another ghoul and another. So that's 5 ghouls for a single Crypt Fiend. Oh, sorry, not you, Jerusalem. I mean, Der Kaiser asked a good question. Get out of my head, Jerusalem. He got a second fairy. Okay. This fairy gets armored, but killed. Note his statue positioning is not too far forward, so it doesn't get focus fire too easily. Destroyer, same thing, all the way in the back. He's focusing Hippo Riders. Gets it. Immediate coil, he felt that entangle coming. Hasn't lost a unit in a while. Destroyer gets low, really low, coils it. Night Elf out of mana, does kill another Crypt Fiend. He's focusing air now, repeatedly. Nice coil. Second statue shows up. Note that he didn't put it on auto healing mana yet. He's just too busy. One is on heal, one is not on mana yet. But he did group it up, and he spams B and C to do simultaneous mana healing, which is a trick you can do with one statue. But the statue otherwise is on attack move. So he does do BC all the time during the fight. He's like fighting 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then 3, BC, BC, and then goes back to the fight again. But it's not an automatic healing yet, which is a bit more slow because you need to right click the autocast button. So he runs those units all the way back, continues to kill units here. Boom, level 4-3. That's big. Gets Unholy Aura level 2. No Death Pact. Nice coil, saves it. Finally, he did put the statue on automatic mana healing. Destroyer comes back, is low. That was an auto attack by Alchemist. In comes the second. Fairies, loses Destroyer. Alchemist levels up. Acid Bomb on a single Crypt Fiend. New Destroyer, always one. And keeps killing air. Web and back. Web and back. Has no mana on DK anymore. Still doesn't go home. Keeps fighting, keeps killing. Loses a Crypt Fiend, but killing more fairies. Now someone has only 15 lumber. And it is the Night Elf. No Shredder, clearly. So Night Elf got lumber starved. I count maybe 2 wisps on lumber on the entire map. So this big gold bank by Elf. And no lumber at all. Why does he have no elves on lumber? No wisps on lumber? He must have lost a few, used a few against skellies, maybe used a few against... I didn't really see him do a massive mana burn exodus on DK and Lich. So it must have been like the few harass and just bad macro, like just not make enough. Now, what he's playing is a very cheap lumber strategy. So it's not too weird. But yeah, that's pretty bad because now it's like equal food. Usually at this point, Undead wins. If it's equal food and you're still on Fairy Dragons, it's just lovely. You've got this 5 Crypt Fiends, 2 statues. You're killing one by one fairies. They're just trying to entangle Focus Fire Fiends. Boom, hit them with the coil, Devour. Fiend runs away. Focus Alchemist a bit with the Nova. Webs, great micro. Keeps healing with the statues even while he moves with it. And he sends everything back. He's never afraid to send like 4 units back home, while keeping the rest with him and just killing air. And those units, he may not even remove them from his control group. He just starts box microing here. And then he can just bring them back in when he feels like the coast is clear again. Maybe he did remove them from his control group. Boom, Devour. At least gives him health and mana on the Destroyer, even though he didn't have to follow up Coil to save the Fiend. This strategy by Elf is extremely difficult. It's weird, right? Because Crypt Fiends burn Fairy Dragons like piece of paper in a dumpster fire. However, the Entangle Acid Bomb Chemical Rage combination and the magic immunity status of the dragons and the free expansion Night Elf gets every time gives Elf such a lead in this matchup. But imagine trying to explain to a Warcraft 3 manual reader that the counter to Fiends or Undead is fairy dragons with an early expansion. Like, they would never believe it. They'll be like, no, ghouls are gonna rush an expansion and you're not gonna be able to make a Tree of Life on one archer. Like, what are you smoking, bro? Like, one archer into Tree of Life, just ghoul rush them, lol. And then, like, fairy dragons, I beat that with Crypt Fiends in 3v3 random team. It's like, what a joke. Like, I wouldn't have believed it either if I hadn't seen it. But this is the meta, man. And, you know, players have tried everything to figure it out. 120 plays a phenomenal game here against someone that underproduces wisps. And still has dropped 12 food under the elf after being up 3. Simply because the entire fight takes place with the elf having an expansion. But now that there are no more Hippo Riders, the DPS is a little bit lower. Undead heroes are getting bigger and bigger. Elf has mined about 3.5k more gold by now, but less lumber. And look, not going for the Tree of Life because it takes too long. Instead, you go for the Haunted Gold Mines. It doesn't cost anything to repair or remake it, but it stops income momentarily and it exposes the wisps. Maybe a nice counter against Elf, a nice nerf for Elf, if it needs a nerf, and I think it does, would be to give less HP to the Entangled Gold Mine, so that you can deal with that expo a little bit better, because those wisps are so safe normally. Double Destroyer, great coil level 3, keeps running, dispelling, and then wait for one to overshot, boom, kill it, and back again, web and back, web and back. Which one do you coil? The Fiend or the Destro? The Fiend. Good choice, because Destro is already away. Now Destro goes down though. Too close. He brought it too close. He made a mistake. Lost the Destro. Focus fire the other Destro. Nice Devour. Gives it health and mana. Has a lot of damage, but can't really stay and fight often. Webs. Splits against acid bombs. Great splits. Great coil. Killing fairies. Focus fire. Fiends that get focus fired move back instantly. Boom, Devour after 2 seconds on the DK Entangle. Focuses the DK, focus Destroyer, boom, pulls it back. Keeps killing fairies. Statue back instantly. DK ready to coil something from a great distance so he doesn't get focus fired. And boom! On the Destroyer. He's gonna have his Devour ready, boom! Entangle, 1.5 seconds only. He knew it's gonna happen. Grubby runs away. Coil. And suddenly it looks pretty good. Keeper's out of mana. He's gonna kill more fairies. And maybe momentarily he'll be like, hey, how about I kill one of your heroes? No, he decided to... He could have killed the Alchemist with that coil. He had 206 life. It was 9 overkill. 19. But there we go. With the Nova, out-microed, outgunned, out-muscled, out-nerded, and out-jocked. GG.